and welcome back to Uncle Drew's Kitchen. What would Thanksgiving be like without pumpkin pie? Let's make one just for you. Boom. Okay, first we're gonna get to work on our pie crust. You'll notice that we're using cubed butter. We've cubed that up. We've let it get to room temperature so it's a little bit softer. Next, we're adding in our flour here. The entire recipe is going to be in the description of the video, so no need to worry about writing this down right now. Once we've added in all of our flour, we're going to start the mixing process in our food processor. You can even pulse that out a little bit first. Here you'll notice I'm starting to add in my ice cold water. Now I do have ice cubes in there. It's going to help firm up the dough. Add that in slowly, a little bit at a time, because we certainly can't take it out once it's in there. Okay, so it's starting to resemble pie crust. We do not want to overmix here, so we'll stop right there. We'll sprinkle some flour on our board and remove the pastry from the food processor. And we'll have to sprinkle a little bit of flour on there because it is going to be a little bit sticky. And then we're going to start to work this dough, and we're going to be very careful not to overwork it. So pie crust is a little bit different than pizza dough, for example, where we're not going to work this and knead it excessively. We're just simply going to bring everything together, form a nice ball. We've got some flour on there, and that is it. We'll leave it right there. We'll even add in a nice little smiley face. We should be happy while we're baking. Smile. There you go. So this recipe that I've made here, this is good for 2 pie crusts. So I've gone ahead and I've cut this or divided it into 2. We'll set one aside, and we're just going to work a little one right now. You'll notice here that I'm just going to press this down into a little bit of a flatter surface, and I'm going to wrap it tightly with plastic and then set it aside. And I'll do the same for the second one. And then we're going to set these both in the fridge for approximately 30 minutes and let them firm up a little bit. Those pie crusts are firming up. We'll get started on the filling by cracking some eggs into our bowl. There goes Uncle Drew, soft hands, no shells in that bowl. We'll do it again. We've got 4 eggs in this recipe. Great. Our eggs are now all cracked in the bowl, and we'll start to lightly beat those and bring them together. You'll notice here we've added in our brown sugar, and we're going to mix that generously, and we'll move on here to our pumpkin puree. This is a very important part of our pumpkin, of course, our pumpkin pie. We've added in some allspice or pumpkin spice. You can add in a dash of nutmeg if you choose. And then we'll go on to our heavy cream. We've added in just a dash of salt. And we're now going to mix everything generously here. Okay, great. Our pumpkin pie filling is all ready. We're going to put that into a measuring cup. It's going to be a little bit easier for us to pour later on. We'll just set that aside, and we will now remove our pie crust from the fridge. Actually, we've already got it removed from the fridge. We've had it on the counter for a few minutes. Bring it up to room temperature a little bit. We'll spread some flour across our board and also on a rolling pin to avoid it sticking. And let's get that floured up. And now we will just start to roll this out. We'd like to roll it out to the size or the diameter size of our actual pie container and a little bit bigger because we want that pie crust to be hanging over the edges, and that way we're able to work it a little bit easier. We're going to bring in our pie container, our pie pan, if you will, and measure it here. See how it fits. I'd like it a little bit bigger, so I'm just going to spread that out a little bit more. We'll roll it out flatter, a little bit wider, and then we'll bring that pan right back in and measure again. And it's looking better here, so now we'll start to work that in. You'll see how we're going to do this. We're going to use our rolling pin. We're going to fold one side over, the other side over. We'll slide our pan underneath and simply unfold it directly into that tray. And now very carefully, we're going to start to move this and try and center it in and get the edges hanging right over. And we're going to work that pie crust into the bottom of the tray. You'll see me here working it around carefully so as to not to rip or tear the pie crust itself. And once we feel as though that's filled up the bottom of the pan, we're simply going to go and cut around the edges and remove all the excess pie crust. You'll notice there may be a few tears or cracks in there. Not to worry on that. You've got this excess dough that you can use. You'll be able to pinch off a little piece and start doing a little bit of patchwork, everything's gonna bake in nicely. So don't be concerned about that at all. You'll notice here I'm using my thumb to press down and pinch around it, create a nice little outer shell on our pie crust. Looks a little bit fancier too when we're doing something like this. Last bit of patchwork from one more crack that I saw on the bottom. So we've done that, and now we're simply going to use a fork and pierce that bottom of the tray a little bit. It's going to allow that to cook a little bit easier and breathe more. Here comes our pumpkin pie mixture. We're going to fill this up generously. Be careful not to go right up to the top because this is going to bubble up and it will expand a little bit, so you don't want that to go over the edge. Great, looking good. We'll give this just a light little shake here to make sure everything has leveled off, and then we'll turn around and put this into our preheated oven. So there it goes. We'll come back and check on this in a few minutes. Important that we're going to do the toothpick check. When you put the toothpick in, it's got to come out completely clean, otherwise it's got to go back in. Okay, pumpkin pie lovers, our pumpkin pie is out of the oven and cooked. We're gonna leave it cool down, but while it's cooling down, we're gonna prepare our fresh whipping cream. So let's get to it. Boom. Uncle Drew's Kitchen, we like to use everything fresh. Now you can use the whipped cream out of the can, that's fine too, but we like this. We've got our heavy cream in there. We're gonna start beating this very lightly, so on a very low speed, and then we're gonna slowly bring this up. You'll move around your beaters here, circular pattern, a figure 8 pattern, and then very slowly bring that speed up, and you'll start to feel your cream thicken up. It's got to be nice and fluffy. And once we've reached a good consistency here, you're going to see me go ahead and add in some powdered sugar. That's going to make our whipped cream just a little bit sweeter. Here it comes. And then we're going to continue to beat this. And again, as the consistency starts to become a little bit thicker, we're going to increase our speed little by little until we reach the high one. And don't worry, this is going to make a little bit of a mess, but that's okay. Whipped cream is good. Make sure we get every edge of that whipped cream in that bowl. And you'll notice here that consistency, it's starting to get fluffier and fluffier and thicker. This is exactly what we want because we're going to be putting this into our piping bag later on. There we go. Take a look at that whipped cream. It's looking fantastic. Give it a little taste as well to make sure it's got the desired sweetness level that you'd like. Okay, our pumpkin pie is all cooled down. It's ready to be iced with our fresh whipped cream. We've got this, but I only recommend keeping this can as a backup plan, or if you want to have some fun, you give it a little bit of a shake. You give it a taste. It's actually pretty good, but it's not going on this pie. On our pie tonight, we're going to be putting our fresh whipped cream, which you already saw us whip up earlier on. It's cooled down, it's nice and fluffy. I'm going to put that in a piping bag, and then I'm going to add a little bit of a design to this pumpkin pie, and then we're going to get in there. So I'm going to bring the camera in for a closer look. You can see me design this pumpkin pie, and then we'll get into it. Okay, so we've got to take our whipped cream and get it into this piping bag. And we've got to work quick while this fresh whipped cream is still nice and cold. That way it holds its consistency for us. So we're going to fill up our piping bag as much as possible. Now we're going to squeeze everything down to the bottom. It looks like we've got a sufficient amount. Now keep in mind, I've made whipped cream here for 2 pies. So we've got plenty. Now, whatever way you choose to design your pie, it's up to you. There's no wrong way. There can't be. It's your own kitchen. Anyone who tells you different, they're wrong. You're right. Okay, so we're going to give this a little test in the sink first. It works. So right now I'm just going to do a few little flowers, and I'm going to try and keep my hands out of the way, and that way you can see this as we're doing it. Now, you could leave it just like that if you wanted to. I'm going to continue on with a few rings on the interior. So there you go. There's our pie. I'm going to try not to tilt it too much. But you can see our fresh whipped cream, it's just thick enough that it's holding those flours and it's not melting off. If we didn't leave our pie cool enough, right now our whipped cream would be melting. And we don't want that. We want this to be nice, fluffy, just past the point of too thin. Looks perfect. We're going to be getting in this really soon. I've got a lot of anxious people behind the camera who want a piece of this. They can smell it. It smells delicious. Pumpkin pie fresh from Uncle Drew's kitchen. Boom! Should have tried the real whipped cream first. That tastes pretty darn good. Next step, we're gonna have to slice this up and get into it. I see another set of eyes on that side of the camera. Smiling over there says, cut the camera, let's cut this soon enough. Boom! Okay, we're ready to cut right into our pie. If you put these flours on correctly, you should see the lines like the parting of the seas to be able to cut this without damaging your whipped cream. And I think we've achieved that goal today. So normally Uncle Drew would just get a fork and eat it right out of the tray, but he's got to share tonight. Unfortunately, can't do that. Some might frown upon that. So anyway, let's get in there. As I say, the wait has been, seems like an eternity for this. But this is also the moment of truth on our pie crust and how it works. So here we go. This is the moment of truth. It's a little crumbly on the top. We're gonna try and get through there. I don't think we're going to, but we're gonna give it our best shot right here and see if we can pull out the first one. The first one's usually the toughest. And if we succeed on that, then we're gonna be okay. We're gonna go quick here. I think we've done it. I think we've done it. Check that out. Oh, we've accomplished that. We look pretty darn good, don't we? Now, you know where this is going. The closer I come to the camera, the more opportunity there is for this to fall off. But I think we've done it today. We've achieved perfection, or close to it. Anyway, let's set that on our plate. We'll put it on the side here. I think we damaged it a little bit lifting it up to the camera, but not too bad. Check that out. Up nice and close. There's some pumpkin pie just for you. Let me know the next type of pie you want me to make. Uncle Drew will make it for you, not for me. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, and share to all your friends. Now we're gonna have to get in there and give this one a little taste. There's my fork. Let's start right over here. Let's see how it goes. This is the moment of truth right here. Again, you know the drill here on Uncle Drew's Kitchen. Watch my eyes. You'll be able to tell right away if I'm enjoying this or not. That's how good this is. That's how good this is. Again, scoring scale out of 10, it would be a 10 plus. It would be over 10. It would be past 10. That's how good this is. I'm not going to wait any longer. What I am going to do though is I'm going to continue to film while I'm eating, and it's going to keep everybody that's behind the camera from eating and sharing in with me. Look, if you could see the looks they're giving right now, they're cursing me. They want to get in there so bad. They're saying, cut the camera. They're saying, eat it, put it down. You know what's great is this is still a little bit warm, so it's even better with our whipped cream. Oh boy. This is fantastic. I may finish the entire piece before anyone else gets to try anything. They're stomping their feet over there. Can you hear it? Wow, this is so good. You guys know how good this is? This is so good. I bet you want to try. Wow. Here, you want to try some? I'll share with you. So good. Now it's going to frustrate them even more because I've got to take more photos of this now that it's cut before they can try it. Just another minute. That's really good. Woo.